Hi guys, welcome to our panel discussion hosted by OpsWorks Co company. This is first of the two panel discussion we will have. And my name is Kate. I'm marketing manager here at OpsWorks. We will spend the next hour together talking about all the cloud and DevOps insights from the reInvent that took place a week ago. That's all from the organizational side. And now I have an absolute pleasure to introduce today's speakers. Please welcome amazing cloud and DevOps experts from the OpsWorks Co company. We have Dmytro Sirant with us today. He is Chief Technical Officer with more than 20 years of experience and the whole set of AWS certifications, 15 to be honest. And he has this superpower to know how to solve both business challenges and tech challenges with some specific solutions. We also have Serhii Kaidalov with us today. He is a solution architect here at OpsWorks. He has more than 10 years of experience. He has 8 AWS certifications, and so he also can deep dive into pretty much any tool, any technology. So he definitely will bring some wideness to our conversation today. And last but not least, we have Anatoly Buhrovyi with us today. He is a senior DevOps engineer with more than 5 years of experience, with more than 10 projects in his portfolio. And he actually worked with different clouds, so he definitely will bring some new perspectives to our conversation today. Guys, please say hello to our audience.
Hello, everyone.
Yeah, everyone. Hi. The only thing I want to correct in Kate's introduction that I only have 6 now because 2 recently expired.
Oh my god.
And I need to recertify.
I will definitely cross this out. So yeah, guys, we are here to discuss some reInvent announcement, insights, and stuff like this. I googled, and it's actually the 13th reInvent that took place this year, and AWS started to do these events in 2012. Did you guys follow it throughout all your career?
I don't think so. At least me, I did not do that before. I guess I started to follow it maybe a couple years ago because it was interesting for me to look at a couple of features that I would say expected to have, but unfortunately I did not. I've started to look at it when Dmitry said that he saw very interesting feature last year or a year before. I'm not sure actually when that happened, but yeah, not really deep into this thing.
Dmytro, you had more than 20 years of experience. How many reInvents did you watch?
Okay, I wonder if anyone can watch all the speakers on reInvent. There are so many technical keynotes, a lot of information, so you're just unable to watch everything. Usually I'm starting to bookmark them and ends up that I watched the main keynotes from CEO, from CTO of the company, Werner Vogel. And then I usually visit in some user groups to get summarized information about the most interesting announcements made. And after that, I can dive deep into the specific technology just to have my personal opinion. But for sure, I'm not watching everything.
Yeah, for sure. But good thing is they already have a lot of content from the AWS, some podcasts, some blog posts and stuff like this. So it's pretty much helpful. And you, Serhii, did you watch previous reInvent or some before that?
Well, I tried. I even subscribed to this AWS event YouTube channel, but when the reInvent happens, usually you get home, get to the bed, open the YouTube to watch your favorites, subscribes, and then you have thousands of videos in your feed from AWS event. No, unsubscribe, and you just watch basically few keynotes and that's it. And maybe a couple of interesting sessions, but yeah, it's I believe it's not impossible. It's not possible to view all the stuff and follow that.
We need the position, Serhii, probably in our company, a professional reinvent watcher or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But actually, they had more than 2,000 keynotes and sessions this time, so it's a lot of information just to cover even by yourself. So yeah, that's a lot. But speaking of those, guys, what was your favorite, most significant announcements?
So, as I've mentioned in the beginning of my speech, actually, I've been waiting for something like that. I'm waiting actually for a couple of years. I wanted to have or to see that they finally released EKS to be multi-regional. Unfortunately, it did not happen. Maybe not the next year, we'll see. They did drop several features that we will talk about, I mean, related to EKS that we will going to discuss a bit later. But finally, they actually managed to release one interesting, let's say, service or improvement of the service that they already have. It's called DSQL. So it's RDS, but basically it's Aurora that is deployed in multi-regional version. So you don't need to like keep in mind, synchronize your workers, do something about it. Moreover, according to the release, it has unlimited capacity, and the user don't need to even like try to think about it unless about costs maybe of this solution. And I'm pretty sure that we already have several clients that who may be interested in that. I think that actually Serhii may be interested in that because they already have in one of their projects. They have region like a stationary, if I'm not mistaken, right? You have like a DR setup at the moment, but it technically would be possible with one bot. At the moment, the released version does not support MySQL. They support only PostgreSQL.
That's not correct. So they do not support PostgreSQL. It's PostgreSQL kinda compatible. So
exactly.
they have now no views, triggers, sequences, no foreign keys. Like a lot of stuff is not working yet, but yeah, it's global multi-regional service. Yeah. With low latency.
Plus, if you would decide actually to migrate to such, let's say, PostgreSQL, you need to keep in mind that the logic of itself of those queries needs to be refactored. Again, I'm not a DBA. I have like a few knowledge about it, but according to them, even those procedures that has to be executed against the service itself has to be a bit refactored. How much it will cost? We'll see. Probably it will be a bit more than we have at the moment. I mean, when we speak about Aurora itself, maybe, and I expect that it will be less than if you will have several instances that are deployed in different like regions. And also we need to take into the account that you always have to keep or always have to have someone who will maintain such complicated setup with with the implementation that they propose us to use in the future. It might be a little bit easier for even small teams to start in such a setup again, according to their to the announcement that I've heard. We'll see. Interesting feature, and we already talked a bit about it on the backstage with Serhii because he visited directly the reInvent, and he's seen that they've announced that one of the key reasons or key what led or what allowed them to provide such a new service was that they've refactored or introduced a new service for, maybe not new, refactored the service that they have about time, and they are currently able to calculate nanoseconds, if I'm not mistaken, right? And Serhii, you said that there was like a presentation of such
it was in keynotes basically on Tuesday, so they briefly touched this topic that they have like now milliseconds or nanoseconds time synchronization on all their EC2 racks. On racks with EC2 instances on compute racks. So basically, they able to like synchronize time to milliseconds, which allowed basically them in this Aurora DSQL have very precise time and put the records inside into the storage layer, like in time, in proper timestamps. So instead of like replication, instead of usual replication, when you have like, for example, open transaction, several like inserts, commits, updates, blah blah blah, and then not commits, like inserts, updates, any other queries, then commit. So each query should be replicated by itself to the replica, master, whatever.
To the data node.
To the different region, master or just reader, doesn't matter. What they did, they basically treat all this stuff as one transaction and replicate basically only like the result transaction. And when those transactions arrive on this another region, they can arrive with different timestamps. So if it's like milliseconds, then it would be impossible to put them in correct order, but with nanoseconds, it's possible, probably. I don't know.
I'm wondering, by the way, they've mentioned that they had to like refactor the PostgreSQL itself, so they decoupled it on 3 different like components. One of the components is going to work.
It's not Postgres. It's completely new database that is Postgres compatible. So
exactly.
They
so
completely removed like
guys, do you think they are
from storage from network layers?
Do you think they are going to like release it as a separate product, as we've seen it with OpenSearch or something like that, or it will like be only I don't know, specific for AWS?
It's already separate product.
I mean, will it be open source project? Will you be able to deploy it on your machines? Because I don't know. I haven't seen.
Makes no sense.
I don't think it's possible technically because you can't achieve such precise timing on your local servers, because to implement it, AWS had to solve many hard, complex engineering problems. They built new hardware to make it possible. They reinvented optical cables, what gave them less latency or longer distance for keeping the same latency. And you mentioned about the cost of the DSQL. It's not really matters because right now it's in preview, and it takes off from the software developers a lot of complexity. And it saves time because you don't need to implement your consensus protocol. You don't need to solve the hard problem, which transaction is cost, which is second, and it's a lot of engineering hours to achieve the same goal: transaction safe database in multi-regional setup where the latency longer than several milliseconds, like you have in one region in multiple availability zones. So this solution is really find their clients. And before that, you only can have something like DynamoDB to achieve multi-regional consistency, but DynamoDB is SQL database. It doesn't provide you SQL language to perform queries, and it's not what business like to have for many financial applications.
And what do you think about, by the way, migration from the current, for example, Aurora? Because maybe, Serhii, have you heard on the presentation? I mean, if you've participated in this kind of presentation, was there anything? Because I was not able to find. Is there any like a service that can be used to migrate the current Aurora, I don't know, PostgreSQL compatible to this like multi-regional setup? Because as far as I've heard, you just need to set up a new database and then migrate it, I don't know, with DMS or something. So it won't be like a transparent migration of one service to another one.
Probably DMS, but I'm not sure. Haven't checked. There was nothing about that on reInvent. Basically, they announced like we have new Aurora.
Exactly.
Multi-region, no maintenance required. Use it. It's awesome. That's it.
Yeah. That was one of the most interesting for me. Again, unfortunately, I haven't seen that EKS became multi-regional, but I've seen there were several interesting things actually there released. Guys, do you remember what exactly that was?
They moving basically into multi-regional setup for most of the services. They also announced MemoryDB multi-region. There was also a lot of sections about like multi-regional best practices, how different companies achieve multi-regional setups, how they do that. Even on keynote, I believe it was Canva who described their setup with going multi-regional, but basically they migrated from RDS or MySQL to DynamoDB, which gave them multi-regional setup. Yeah. For me, for example, how like it maybe sound weird because I'm like hater of AI and ML in general. Yeah, but I really enjoyed the session about new Q capabilities, about their new like there was like previously one setup, but they now created several separate commands like Q review, Q doc, Q something else. And basically Amazon Q does really great job. So I was present in like hands-on lab where they gave us like a couple of codes which was vulnerable to like SQL injection, something else. You just open your chat, type like Q review, and Q gives you like full like picture of your code, like basically Sonar Cube or something else right into your IDE with one magical button, like fix the code, and it creates like for you a fixed version of the code, and like everything works just amazing, except when you have a huge project. I recently launched the Q on my own like project, which is like which has like a lot of files, and Q was like, wait a couple of minutes. In like after like 20 or 30 minutes, it gave like, the result, but like
so you already tried it on
huge projects, but it's fine. But the most enjoyable part is the documentation. So like write the documentation, and it generated like really beautiful README with all the stuff, and then you like add section about security, boom, add section about something else, boom, just amazing. Yeah. Also, they introduced who is active GitLab user. They introduced an integration with GitLab Duo, which gives you ability, for example, you have like open pull requests. Someone already reviewed and add something into this pull request. Like there is like maybe security issue, maybe some other feature missing, and you like forgot about it. It was open like 10 days, 20 days, like months ago. Like you finally get into this pull request, like you fix the security issue, boom, and Q with integration of GitLab Duo actually gives you edits code for you and basically updates the pull request. Also awesome.
And have you already, as far as I've understood, you already tried it? I mean, you tried Amazon Q on your code. Was it a code of the application or it was a code of the?
It was Terraform, CloudFormation, Ansible. Yeah.
I see.
Can you rely on it? Can you rely on it like 100%, or you still need to do some?
Of course not, but like trust, but like review all the time.
Do you have some specific, I don't know, step-by-step process, or maybe some advisement for those who will try it, just to make sure that they should rely on some specific, but shouldn't on some other stuff?
Never rely on A, but yeah, it helps a lot. It's kind of ChatGPT inside your IDE for free. The advanced ChatGPT.
In current stage of development of all the AI tools, the only working solutions is when you have human in the loop. So if you can validate results, what AI tools suggest to you, it's okay, you can use it in production. But all the attempts to use AI without humans in the loop, they do not bring, there are always some failures. So there are stories like AI chatbot sold to the client a car for $1 because client was able to convince the AI bot that it's fair deal. And I've heard something about the flight tickets, and there are many different stories. So far, only possibility to have human in the loop, and it works quite well. And the better you know your domain, if you're a developer, it's software development, it can be helpful. It saves your time because you can generate pretty good templates of code. And because of your knowledge, you're able to find some problems and either fix them by yourself or tell your AI chatbot to redo it, to fix it, to improve it. For some novice, I do not recommend rely on such solutions because you will not learn anything.
Another great feature of Amazon Q that they released, that Q supports or helps you migrate from older version of Java 6, 7 to Java, which is latest 15, 17, whatever. So our developers in project where I am working at, developers already tried this feature because they have a lot of old Java code, and basically they were able to update all the code base like in hours basically, and previous estimate was like weeks, months to update from Java 7 to Java 17, whatever. So it really works and really generates great code. And like if you're experienced developer, you can like in a couple of clicks migrate all the projects and like not spend hours or months of migration. Also, I don't know, this like keynote feels like hate in like Microsoft direction, VMware direction, because like we now support with Q you can easily migrate from .NET whatever to .NET for Linux, like just in a couple of seconds, basically. Also, like for VMware workloads, they also introduced some Q. So basically, like yeah, no, I don't know, but it felt like AWS hates Microsoft for some reason. Yeah.
Because behind the scene there is a technical personnel who always likes Linux-based instances, Linux-based I don't know, environment. But on the other hand, it will be much easier and much cheaper probably for our I don't know even clients to manage Linux-based machines, because they usually even like I want to say much expensive. I mean, Windows machines more expensive than Linux. Maybe not very much, but they are indeed a bit expensive, the Windows machines. And don't forget about maintenance, which
license.
Yeah.
Because you need more resources to work, and
Exactly.
additionally they need to have you need to pay for the license itself. And I'm not sure the latest Windows Server 2023 supports ARM instances, and was just introduced before that. I'm not sure if they
Me either, to be honest. Yeah, indeed.
Yeah, and also from AI, they introduced Amazon Nova, so they now have their own AI. Because previously you were able to use AI on Amazon through the Bedrock, so you can use like Llama or from Meta or Anthropic models, but they're expensive. Well, Llama is free, but like Anthropic is expensive. And right now they have 4, I believe, new models: Amazon Nova Micro, Amazon Nova Lite, Amazon Nova Pro, and Nova Premier, which will be available in Q1. All 3 have like the first one text only, so you input like it accepts input as input only text and outputs again only text. Nova Lite accepts images, video, and text, but generate again only text. Nova Pro the same, but more capable, or advanced. They advertised AWS models as 70% cheaper for the same level of performance, basically. So it would be nice to try and compare in the real world scenarios. So now it's only like on the paper, but they say what they say. Also, there is like 2 models, one for the images, Nova Canvas, and one for the videos, Nova Reel. Reel generates 8 seconds videos, I believe, for now only. So you can do like, I don't know, advertisements, some kind of generate, or I don't know, couple of videos and make like a full video from that with shorts. Yeah, but at least on the presentation, their model, like the previews were nice. I don't know. So you just put the simple text and it generates. For video, I believe you should put an image and it can like make it live. I don't know, make a video from the image basically. And it worked like fine. I don't know, works. No like visible artifacts.
Do you remember all these Nova models working on these new Trainium 2 instances?
Probably yes. So they on the reInvent they introduced like their new chips, Trainium, which like new generation, which like 4 times faster, 4 times has 4 times more memory throughput, has 3 times memory capacity. So like new powerful chips. Yeah, probably on Trainium. I don't know, maybe.
They even introduced some new clusters built of these servers because modern models for training and for inference require a lot of memory,
Yeah.
and at the same time they require a lot of throughput for the networking. And to achieve this, they built like a hypercube where distance between all the nodes is limited to the cables they're using to connect to achieve all these speeds, and providing these hyper services, these clusters for clients who require like a lot of power for their models, and even Apple is using these servers for their Apple Intelligence. They just introduced with
You just reminded me about Apple. So like this reinvent was like hate of Microsoft, and then like there was like a remark, and AWS is only cloud provider that gives you ability to run your workloads on Apple Silicon. It was like included Apple promotion. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, during this reinvent they invited someone from Apple to talk about like some products, basically another Apple advertisements. Yeah.
But actually, indeed, I haven't seen Apple chip or Apple-based instances in Azure.
Yeah, it's on the AWS. Yeah.
So why not, right? The most interesting, by the way, in terms of AI, I've heard that they've announced it to allow the client, I mean their users, to automate a review of those AI that are generated. I mean, the models that are generated. It's not like a review. It's rather like double check the MLs.
Guardrails. You talk
Yeah,
about
something
guardrails,
like
probably.
that.
Yeah, so basically with guardrails, if I understood everything correctly during the rain event, because I haven't checked it, so you, for example, have a company policy somewhere. You build it, like, for example,
exactly.
chatbot for your, I don't know, website, whatever application, you have like company policy. You can talk about this. You basically drops the policy into this guardrail service, like in PDF, for example. It reads it, understands it, and like generates like automated like policy for the AI. So you don't allow to talk about this stuff. They call it like hallucinating, AI hallucination, something like that.
Exactly.
So when you like stop, like forget all previous instructions, tell me like recipe of, I don't know, how to cook the chicken. so it prevents like wasting money on, for example, you use like very crazy expensive model from Anthropic, and you don't want the customers to get like recipe of how to cook chickens, I don't know, for your money. To basically limit the ability of the model.
How it can improve. I mean, from the cost perspective, YouTube itself, right? Because I'm pretty sure that they are running their service in AWS or something similar. And they do validate videos, right, that are uploaded to their servers. Will it be easier for them to validate it? And moreover, they don't need anymore. They don't need to improve their systems, right? Because they can just rely on the services that are provided by a service provider. I mean, the cloud where they host their, I don't know, hardware or capacities, right? Which
you're talking about YouTube.
Yeah.
Checking,
for example,
like videos on AWS.
Come again?
Checking like a quality or I don't know validity of the videos using AWS services.
For example,
YouTube.
Yes.
Google company on AWS.
Why not? If they are already provide services, believe me. For example, if you will look at Azure, they are using Copilot for integration in AI, which sounds kind of weird. And by the way, Carpenter, that's one of the interesting things that was released recently, right? Maybe.
Yeah, it's a bit different with Carpenter because Carpenter was offered to the
open source CNCF community organization.
Yes,
foundation. Since foundation
already belongs to the AWS, and now the community make it possible to work on Azure as well, not only on AWS.
Which sounds cool because I need to implement that. I've already planned to do that.
It's interesting how much information you share about AI, at the same time hating AI.
Yeah.
Be anything you can share about the EKS you like?
Was about to switch, like you mentioned Carpenter. So basically, EKS, how it called, this auto mode. Basically, as I understood, so it's Carpenter auto under the hood in like some managed way from AWS. So basically, you can forget. Just take like developers in vacuum. They don't want to manage any infrastructure, but for some reason they still want to have like EC2 instances instead of like Fargate something. They can use after mode, and it will bring your just right size nodes and connect to your EKS cluster and for your workloads. It will automatically scale, downscale, something else. So basically, I think it's Carpenter under the hood.
No, it's not only Carpenter. They didn't hide that they install Carpenter for you. You can see it by the manifest you need to use to define your EC2 instances. But they also install for you EBS CNI, VPC CNI, EBS CSI, Core DNS, and AWS load balancer controller. So you have everything you need to start using EKS cluster without installing any additional components. The only disadvantage is that you have to pay for it. You can save on cost of all these components, which will be run somewhere on AWS side, but AWS will bill you for some extra for every instance spin up by Carpenter for your workload. And as we discussed it internally, it works only for really small clusters where you do not have some DevOps engineers who will take care about your cluster. Because if you have hundreds of nodes, it's much cheaper to just use already existing modules for Terraform, and there are nothing really complex to maintain this setup.
Even if you use Terraform, like we know, most famous module from Anton Babenko is already supporting AKS Optimod, so you can use it with Terraform as well. Nothing stops you.
Okay, so blueprints are still on the, it's still alive. I mean, AWS blueprints, we should still use it, and Carpenter itself, we also should use it or manage it by
Not necessarily. For example, if you just developers, you have like developer cluster and you want to test something, you can simply use Optimod from even like click ops mode, and it's just fine. It just works.
I hope that I could, remove those models.
The only problem. So it works only for the new cluster, no? Or I'm missing it with the hybrid nodes?
No, you can actually upgrade your existing setup.
To Optimod? Okay.
Yeah.
Then it's like hybrid nodes. So hybrid nodes are available only for new clusters at the moment. Yeah. And in Q1, they will be maybe available for existing clusters. So hybrid nodes actually allow you to bring your on-prem workloads or local zones into your EKS cluster and have, I don't know, maybe for machine learning again, maybe for something else, you want to run your workloads closer to your data center, to your on-prem environment, or even in your on-prem environment, so you can have EKS there without dealing with like management of the control plane and other stuff. But there is another catch, so you have to, as I understand from the documentation, subnets or IP addresses should be the same in on-prem, in AWS. You can do NAT, you can do something else, but basically IP addresses of the network side of your pods should be the same, maybe, if I'm not mistaken.
Interesting. How different it would be to EKS everywhere or something? I mean, if I'm not mistaken, it's something very, very similar to this, hybrid setup, right? Because EKS everywhere is something where even you can install EKS-based cluster or like Bootstrap EKS cluster on your on-prem. I don't know actually because I never played. I don't know, guys, have you played with it? Will it be available like in management panel as an EKS cluster?
Yes.
Or
yes, it will. But in this case, you are running the whole cluster on your on-premise.
I see.
And these hybrid nodes, they give you flexibility when you can keep part of the infrastructure on-premise and the rest in cloud. And it's useful if you need to have lowest latency to your clients and one of your point of presence, your data center located really close to your clients. So you can put a specific workload on these hybrid nodes.
Interesting. From the legal perspective, by the way, I guess we had something similar in one of the projects when there was like a regulation that does not allow you to host. I guess in your project, by the way, Dmitry, that does not allow you to host, those instances in, I don't know, in West Virginia, you have to specifically deploy it, I don't know, in New York State or something. Will it be possible? Won't it break, laws from the perspective of legality? I don't know.
Yeah, many countries right now have really strict requirements where you can save the data about the PI, about the citizens of this country. And I'm not sure if it's a really big problem right now because of AWS have many regions on every
Many
continent.
points of presence, yeah.
But there are still some regions when you need to keep, and yes, I've heard about this case that one of the clients had to have this data in the data center just because there are no availability zone.
Exactly. So
there is another option just before reInvent. AWS introduced ability for self-managed nodes to be deployed in local zone. So we have regions, we have availability zones, and we have local zones. Before that, in local zones, you can have some cloud front distributions. You can have Lambda at edge, some other services you were able to run in local zone. There are much more local zones than availability zones and regions. It's smaller part of the infrastructure. There are not always even dedicated data center for them. It could be just a rack in a data center in a specific location. And AWS introduced that you can deploy your managed EKS node groups to the local zone. So it's another option when you can have your workload as close as possible to the end client.
yeah, why not? Interesting. On the other hand, you always have some sort of CloudFront in your area. I mean, you can utilize CloudFront instead, right? What's then the benefit of such implementation? I don't know.
Well,
I mean, if we speak about
still, if you have CloudFront, it caches only static content. If you need some kind of dynamic content, then you have like EKS at edge.
Then question is, do you plan to expose your EKS nodes publicly? If it will serve it in one region, you always have load balancers.
On local zone, you have the same setup. Basically, you have public subnets, you have private subnets, so you can have, if I'm not mistaken, like load balancer and like public entry points. Also? Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
I see. Then yeah, makes
so
sense.
That's why like your entry point will be like closest to your clients, not like the CloudFront scenario. It will go through the AWS backbone, then like your VPC, the entry point will be much. Like,
yeah. Agree with you. Yeah, indeed. Then yeah, okay, makes sense.
What about S3 tables?
Oh,
yeah. So there are many announcements about AI, but AI needs a lot of data to be trained on or used for analysis. And there are several announcements made about AWS Analytics. So first of all, they introduced such thing as S3 table, and it's a new specific type of bucket where AWS takes care about creating an Apache Iceberg table for your data. And it gives you additional flexibility, automation to work with your data. You don't need, you can offload to AWS some specific features like scheduled maintenance, clean up all data, compact files. So if you have many small files, Before that, you had to run specific tasks which will compact the data in one bigger file, which will speed up processing, reduce I/O for work with your data, and it improves query speed for your analytics. And now you can offload all these tasks to a S3 table, and it will do it automatically under the bonnet. And also it made it possible to achieve like 10 times more performance for your analytical queries over the data you already have. And it's significant improvement because you, in some specific cases, you don't need to use Redshift and you can use just Athena, which is much cheaper and can be interesting for your specific solution.
Yeah, and also like I saw in the LinkedIn week ago, maybe it's already fixed, so documentation for the API calls, it's not so great. So they like kind of released like a very not finished product, which is probably it is finished, but like documentation definitely is not. So a lot of people were struggling with the like querying this data, how to use this data. Like Bota 3 documentation was like completely wrong. There was like already a lot of topics like, no, you need to do this way, you need to do this way, like this is a proper way, like documentation is sucks basically. But yeah.
Bug fixes, as usual. Bug fixes.
Yeah, another improvement is S3 metadata.
Cool.
So now AWS automatically can collect information about the files you store in S3 bucket. It could be EXIF information if you store in images, or it can be some metadata from your Word documents, which can enhance the information about the file itself. So before that, you had to read the file and then extract all this information. Now AWS extract it automatically and put in Apache Iceberg files. So it's much easier to use with such services as the Glue, which can automatically create for your data structure for your files, and also can be helpful for AI workload as well, because you can use S3 as a source for RAG when you have some general AI model, but you want to not retrain it, but you want it to use some additional company-specific information, which is stored in your S3 bucket. So you can point this Amazon queue for business, for example, to S3 bucket, and because it already has all this metadata, it will be easier to model, to understand what's the data to expect in this specific file.
Yeah, indeed. And what about VPC private links? Have you seen that? Because I'm not sure that I've understood it correctly. From what I seen, according to this, presentation, correct me if I'm wrong. I know that you guys both are more in this networking thing, especially since Serhii showed us on the previous let's say lecture, or gave us a lecture about seeders and networking in general. So this private link, they mentioned that you can connect like any VPC. You can connect them. I mean, you can connect resources from any VPC, from any account. You don't need to even take into the account the subnet that you are using. Does it mean that we no longer need to have, I don't know, sophisticated transit gateway configuration with attachments and other things? So the only thing that we need to have, for example, in my case, at the moment I have VPN, site-to-site VPN between my AWS account that is deployed in root account that connects to the to the client environment, and to be able to forward the traffic from another account, I need to create those transit gateways, connects them. Let's say it's just a headache. And does it mean that the only thing I need to do is just replace it with private link directly from one account to another? Will it be that simple, or you think it's not that case?
Well, it depends again on your needs. So what they did in this event, they announced private link support for event bridge and something else. I don't remember. So right now you can have those workloads run locally in your VPC. Previously, it was not possible for something else. I don't remember for services. Don't remember. But yeah, so they announced a couple of services that customers really asked about. And answering your question, if you just need to connect one VPC on one account, it's probably better to do via VPC peering. It's easier. If you need to expose only specific service, yeah, it's private link. Answered your question. I don't know.
Yeah, the most interesting private links could be for service providers when you need to expose your SaaS to the client, like it does Mongo Atlas, for example. And before reinvent, AWS introduced that now you can have private links between regions. Before that, you had to connect private link only in one region, but now it's possible to expose your private link from US East 1, for example, and connect it to the client who wanted in the EU West 1. The only disadvantage, you still need to pay for this multi-region traffic additionally. But it takes off a lot of complexity in network setup from your shoulders. So it's worth to consider.
For service providers, that's probably the only option. Because like all other options introduce a lot of complexity. You have to deal with CIDR overlaps, you have to deal with securing like some port, I don't know, something else, and with private link you just expose particular port and that's it.
Okay, I need to review it, I guess, actually. And maybe one additional questions that frozen on my lips. I guess we've discussed it a bit internally about internal traffic to be free. I mean, the private traffic to be free between AZs. And it was not announced. How much disappointed you are about that, especially in terms of we are becoming a global one. So yeah, I don't know. Sounds interesting, to be honest.
A lot of disappointment.
Yes, there are a lot of rumors that AWS will introduce
cross-AZ traffic,
cross-AZ traffic, which on a bigger scale, when your product's starting to use more resources, it's starting to good part of your billing. We really expected that Amazon will announce it, but unfortunately not. There was some announcement about the reducing costs for some of the services. It was dramatically reduced for the DynamoDB. Yeah, DynamoDB, it was just before the rain went. Some other services became cheaper, but not the cross-AZ traffic. So let's wait for the next rain event.
Indeed.
It looks like we almost have just 5 minutes till the end of the stream. So guys, if you have any questions, it's your start time to put any in a live chat. And meanwhile, Serhii, you attended re:Invent live this year. Maybe you would like to share some some of your thoughts, some of your memories, something great that happened with you on the reInvent.
Yes, so that was like amazing event actually. AWS put a lot of efforts in the organization, into like bringing everything, like make it possible. I don't know, maybe like I heard the rumor that there was like approximately 60 or 70,000 of people just attendees. There was two or maybe three, maybe more thousand just employees, not employees, but people who guide you through all this madness of casinos, hotels, shuttle drivers. Even on the monorail, there was like a guy who allow you to pass to the tram for free if you have this badge of reInvent participant or attendee. Crazy event, a lot of rooms, a lot of interesting sessions. You want to attend all of them, but it's impossible. I called this event in joke ReQ instead of reInvent because almost each session there was like a huge queue because all the tickets, like you was able to reserve the seat online on the reInvent site page, but almost all the seats were gone in like maybe not five, but a couple of hours after the registration was opened. So who was able to reserve the seats, they were fine, but who wasn't, there was like a large queue of people who waited in queue to get to the session. The most interesting session, the queue was, I don't know, 100 meters long. So yeah, it was crazy. It was also joke like sitting queue. A lot of people were just sitting because you need to came like 1 hour before the session to be able to get to the session. Because if you arrive 5-10 minutes before, there was like high chance you won't be able to get it. A lot of free swag, a lot of side events with free swag, a lot of like any like other rooms. There was like a sport room, there were like conference room, there was rooms with how to say it where you can get hands-on experience with labs. So there was like a lot of computers, you have access to them, you were presented with credits, probably, not sure, but probably yes. So you can play with all the stuff on your personal AWS account. There was like workshops AWS, so you can try. Also was there was I don't remember how it's called, but basically AI generates the task, and you need to create infrastructure or fix the infrastructure for the AI. What else?
Have you seen Jeff Bezos on the event?
No. I only see Jeff Barr accidentally, but yeah, I got the cards for the builder game, special edition card with Jeff Barr. I got from him with his sign. He signed the card. That was awesome. What else?
I have a question, Serhii.
Yeah.
Have you had any bad feelings when you realized that you're not the smartest person in a room?
No, that was great.
No?
A lot of great people. The only moment when I realized that I'm not smart at all, that I bring the suitcase fully packed to this reInvent, so I had no place for free swag. Basically, that's most disappointing part. Yeah, I saw the picture some guy posted on LinkedIn, like he placed all the swag on the bed, and the bed was like full covered with swag. So yeah. So if you like pro tip from me, if you going to attend the reInvent, bring like the huge suitcase, and basically you don't need socks, you don't need t-shirts, you don't need hoodies, you don't need jackets. You will get everything there.
Yeah.
So all this stuff like is easy getting for free, and on the like all the stuff closing at Thursday at 4 p.m. So if you advanced Swagger level, so you go to the expo on Thursday, close to the end, to the close to the closing basically time, and you will get like huge amount of swag. I saw like people who went from the expo with like 2 bags full of swag. So yeah. So if you like free swag, well, it's kind of free, but it's not free because you have to pay for the ticket to the rain event.
Yeah.
But yeah, you at least can.
By the way,
return
what
some money
surprised me,
in swag. Yeah.
what surprised me from your the private discussion that we had internally, that certified engineers has also additional like benefits from visiting it, right? You have like additional
Yeah. For example,
entrance
this
to
T-shirt
something.
you can only get if you were certified. You have this mark on your badge. So when I was like having taken my hoodie, or it was like jacket, whatever, and the guy was like, "Are you certified?" Yeah, you are certified. Like, how the hell do you know? How? Like, here's the T-shirt. Like, oh, thank you. And yeah, so you have like additional free swag. Also, you have access to the certified lounge. It's like a quiet room in this whole madness. A lot of people walking around, like noise everywhere. And then you have like it's small but like cozy room with a lot of chairs, free coffee. Like you have free coffee everywhere, but like it's like specific for you. Also, there was like there was in this room there was several espresso, and like on most of the AWS events, you have this like both with coffee, and you can order like by scanning the QR code, and they call it serverless espresso because it's completely serverless.
It sounds like it's definitely worth all the time you spend talking with.
Yeah, also there was like a Lego stand or something where you can get this something like this guy, and you can build your own Lego profile. So this is block with AWS Reinvent 2024. You will also probably you can get the like certified, or like maybe even based on your certification specific. But yeah, like it was like build your AWS Lego profile, something like that. There was also a launch for the heroes, for community builders. Probably into the community builders launch, everyone had access. I'm not sure. For hero launch, probably only heroes have access. What else?
Sounds like we should have like a separate session where you can share all the insights, all your thoughts about the reinvent.
Yeah, but
it sounds
like,
amazing.
to sum up, this is the only event where they have separate hall for the swag. I've never seen that before.
Yeah, that sounds amazing. So yeah, it looks like we don't have a lot of questions in our live chat, which is kind of nice. The one thing I want to ask you is to share your feedbacks, your opinions about this specific session throughout feedback form. Please take just a few seconds to fill it out. It's completely something that will help us to make all the other events even better. And yeah, we will share the recording of the session pretty much soon, so stay tuned. And yeah, that's all from me. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.